This Sunday is the fifth Sunday in the Easter season, and as we get closer to the end of the season, we have sort of more comprehensive views of Christ. So not only the resurrected Christ that Mary finds in the garden, but really this idea that Christ is the sum of all of our being. And so the service starts off with the collect of the day, the prayer of the day, that acknowledges Christ as the way, the truth, and the life. And all through this service, we will hear echoes of that, of Jesus calling himself the way, the truth, and the life, and our following of Christ in all of our aspects of our lives. A wonderful theme for us this week, especially as we welcome 3 siblings into the waters of baptism at this joyous celebration of resurrection. So we have a lot of ways to think about following Christ and seeing these new Christians as they are brought into the Christian family. We'll start off with singing a very popular hymn that's not too terribly old. It's only 50 or so years old. And it comes from the Lutheran tradition, but it's been extremely popular across denominational lines. This is the Feast of Victory for Our God, which is an adaptation of the Dignus Es, which is a canticle in our prayer book, with an adaptation of verses from Revelations, thinking about Christ, the Lamb who was slain, who is now the promise of heaven that we have. And this beautiful antiphon, this is the feast of victory for our God. Alleluia. A really triumphant way to start the service off. And like I said, you'll hear echoes in the gospel passage, of course, especially of that idea of Christ being the way, the truth, and the life. And that will certainly be figured in the baptism. The treble choir at the communion will be singing a wonderful setting of an Easter hymn, "Come away to the skies, my beloved, arise, and rejoice in the day you were born." This is actually a hymn that's in our hymnal. It's 213, but we don't sing it very often. And so it's nice to have the treble choir on hand to sing this really ebullient setting of it by David Sims, who is not only a friend of mine, but is somewhat familiar to us here at St. John's. We commissioned him several years ago to write a piece for our treble choir, Sing Praise. So his name may be a little bit familiar. David has a wonderful sparkling wit, and he always has a gleam in his eye, and you can hear that sparkle in this music. So just as it is in our hymnal, he uses a melody from the early American tradition, from the Kentucky Harmony, kind of an old hymnal from the colonial era, and uses that really beautiful folk melody and weaves some interesting variations sort of around it as the treble choir will sing that melody over and over. One thing that's of particular note that will go by so quickly and it's hard to catch, David himself is a Lutheran, and he introduces a Lutheran Christmas carol, Vom Himmel hoch, from heaven above I come to earth. And he does that in the second verse where the text is, "For thy glory we were first created to share both the nature and kingdom divine, now created again that our lives may remain throughout time and eternity thine." So this idea of Christ coming down and imbuing our lives with Christ's presence, and David very neatly weaves in the melody of this Lutheran Christmas carol, "From heaven above I come." So again, it's very subtle and it passes by so quickly, but in that second verse, if you hear the organ playing a different melody as the trebles continue to sing that melody, if you hear that Christmas carol coming down from heaven, you'll know exactly what's going on. And then we'll follow right up with singing the very popular hymn, Come My Way, My Truth, My Life. Again, another iteration of that phrase. And this is that beautiful hymn tune by Ralph Vaughan Williams. So we hope that you will join us this fifth Sunday of Easter here at St. John's, either online on our YouTube channel or our channel 12 on local cable, or certainly coming here downtown at 413 Cumberland Avenue as we follow Christ, the way, the truth, and the life.